My name's Ryan. Now I've just bought a house. My parents never bought a home, and throughout my 20s I was just always traveling. My university was across multiple different countries. I was from Jersey. I moved to London through work, didn't expect to live in London long term, and then sort of like 5-6 years later, I'm still in London, and it just kind of got to the point where this now feels home. So it's time to sort of put down roots. So I got to that point where I just thought, now is the time. As you get older, you just feel like you appreciate that mundaneness a little bit more, the routine, knowing the people around the corner, your local shops, and I just felt like I was running away from that for so many years. And I got to the point where I was like, now it's the time. We met the lady who owned the house, so there was actually there was no estate agents really involved in the entire transaction, and we were able to kind of connect with her, and she told us about like the history of the house. She had her baby on one of the floors in the rooms. What was great as well is the home it looked lived in. It felt like you could imagine yourself living in this home because she's had a family in it for 10 years. And I remember this one little feature that just caught our eye, and it was, she had a little fairy door, like a small door, it's about this high, and it was at the bottom of one of the, like the chimney breasts. And obviously she's little girls, I think, and she was like, oh yeah, that's our little fairy door when they like lose their teeth or something along those lines. So we actually specifically asked her to hopefully leave that door when we move in, or we'll just add our own little door. Then when it came to actually like getting the mortgage in principle, because obviously to view a place you probably should have something in place. I found like in this scenario anyway, like we spoke to a variety of different mortgage brokers, and it was over like a bank holiday weekend, and for them to actually get you a mortgage in principle, even though they had like all the documents and things like this, they said, oh, it'll take a couple days, we need to get confirmation from the bank and things like this. And I was like, when you're in that mode where you've found a place that you like, you kind of just want things to happen instantly for you. Naturally, we live in a world where everything happens overnight or instantly, and then I was like, I work in tech, so I was like, surely there's a product or a software or something where you just click a few buttons, say how much you earn, what your deposit is, and then they just spit out a mortgage in principle. Obviously they'll do the full checks afterwards, but the fact that you have that piece of paper, you can feel confident that you can then go in and actually view a place. And I just saw Tembo on Google search or something, and I actually, I knew of them through friends, and I knew of them through adverts and things like this as well. So let's just give them a go. So I filled out the full onboarding platform, and it came out, I was like, cool, this is your mortgage principal, you can now borrow X. I was like, that was easy. And then that was like my in then to think, well, Tembo was quick, kind of delivered on what I needed, so why don't I just keep going through that process? They have all my documents now, and I think that's when we spoke with Ruth. We did like a quick hour-long call. I think I was in a pub somewhere at the time, and Ruth was great. She just she spoke to me like she was like my auntie or something, like someone, like a close family member who had been through the process and was just like, right, Ryan, like this is how it works, this is the steps. I bought a home myself, these are all the factors I would consider. And I was like, perfect, like that's what I need. This is like the biggest purchase of my life, so I need someone to feel like they care about it just as much as I do, rather than a lot of like the brokers and estate agents, it's just like, okay, you're another number that just gets pushed through the system. I felt trust, I felt there was a lot of honesty and respect between like both company, person to person as well, and they knew what they were talking about. It was just a clean process all the way through. I think there's an element of just education that everyone needs a lot more of. What you can afford, you can kind of go on Tembo, put in your details, you can kind of see where you land with what you can afford now. My perspective of home ownership has changed hugely. I think 5 years ago, I would say, I can't imagine myself buying a home. I prefer the freedom, I prefer like to have minimal amount of stuff. But now it's changed a little bit. I want that community, I want that local connection to people, and home ownership I think gives me that. And then also like being able to like share a place that me and my girlfriend now own, and potentially set ourselves up for maybe having a family. And now now we're in a position where we have the opportunity to choose in some sense, whereas before it was super difficult. You couldn't have a family in a one-bed flat and do that for the rest of your life. My girlfriend's been planning renovations, the design of the home, since we put the offer down. You know, I'm glad I have her because I would be terrible at it. So I'm looking forward to see what she pulls out. I will be her assistant. Also really excited about is I now have my own man cave. I've got an extra room, which is kind of like my office, but I'm going to put like a sofa in there and like a TV, and I'm going to play my games, and I'm going to invite my friends around, and we're going to play beer drinking in there. It's going to be great. I'm going to have everything I wanted as a kid in a room. I'm just going to throw it in there.